I thought.
Did you guys get that?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. So here is the link to the presentation, which you'll probably want because there are links inside of it. So it's bit.ly, and then I try keeping the naming the same. So it's RSOD, and this one's Wakelet. We have RSOD Ed Puzzle, RSOD Jamboard. This one's RSOD Wakelet. SOD. Got it? Okey-doke. So I'm just going to start off by telling what Wakelet is because a lot of people don't know or they haven't heard of it. Basically, it's a curation tool. So think of Pinterest. It's like Pinterest, but it's anything that you could get a link for, you could make part of a collection. So the collections could be like, let's say you're looking for things about digital citizenship, or you're looking for things for STEM activities. And so you can find things on the internet, videos, they could be articles, they could be websites where kids can do interactive stuff, and you can save them in these collections. So it could, the other thing you can use it for is for an assignment. So one of the topics that a lot of teachers told me they had a hard time with was showing kids how to research. So what you can do is you can pull in the pieces you want them to use for research and have a collection, and I'm going to show you an example, have a collection of items that the students can go through one by one. And at the end, you can even put something from your Google Drive, like a slide deck, where you want them to tell about what they learned. So for example, the one that I created is on energy, renewable energy, but I also included fossil fuel. So the kids can go through, they get a week or they get 2 weeks to go through each one. And they're small bits. It's not anything like reading several pages. It's videos, it's a podcast, it is some text. The other thing that's nice about Wakelet is Immersive Reader is part of Wakelet. So anything you put in there, it will read it to the student. So it makes all the content accessible for all students. You can also do a short of, I don't know if you've ever done a Flipgrid short, but basically in Wakelet, when you click on Flipgrid, it gives you the opportunity to record yourself. So you could record your instructions if you wanted to, or you can type them up. And then the kids can see the instructions and know what they need to do. They can go back and watch the instructions again. Or if you just want to give your own piece of information, like a little mini direct instruction. So all of this is just included. Wakelet is free. It will remain free. They've promised they'll add to it. When it first started, you couldn't do, like Flipgrid wasn't part of it. You couldn't do as many things as you can now. So they're constantly updating it. And they are, I mean, people will donate money to them. They have like a coffee thing, and you can just donate like $5 a year or something just to keep Wakelet free and going. Other things you can use it for, lesson resources with your team, your grade level team. And there is a teacher, and I put a link to hers. She does a newsletter for her class every week. You could just do a monthly one, but her newsletter is also takes the place of like a Google slide deck. So in her newsletter are all of the lessons they'll be working on in the Zoom environment. So you could do your Fridays, something like that. So instead of just talking about it, I'm gonna show you that energy one that I created. So the first thing that you do is you can change the banner image, and then you can also change the background image. So it really looks a lot more engaging. And then once you put the banner image on, there's a little place to give a descriptor. And then you can change your layout. There are a lot of different options. I just kept it as a stream. This is where you would add anything like a link. You can add a note. Like I said, you could put instructions here. You can add an image. You can bookmark right here, add a PDF if you want them reading something. And then here, this grid allows you to put in, embed a tweet, as you can see below I did. This is where you would put your little short. You could, any YouTube video, something from your Google Drive or your OneDrive. So this first part is wind. This particular collection, or part of the collection, is from the UK, and it's a podcast, kids podcast about wind. So this, and it's got some other things on it that kids can look through for wind. I don't know if you know this, but there's a website called kiddle.co, kiddle.co, and it is a browser for children. So, you know, 5th grade and 6th grade, you guys teach, it's probably not necessary, but for K2, kiddle.co, and if you have your own children of that age, I would have them use that when they're searching for information, because it is 100% safe. So I found this, it's wind power facts for kids. And then this, if you've ever seen the crash course videos, the girl is super engaging, just a video. So that's what they would go through for the wind. Now, if let's say I'm asking them to choose one and focus on one, and then maybe I'm going to have the class share out. I have natural gas. So these are more fossil fuel, non-renewable. And then I have water. Here's a tweet from the Tech Insider. This is actually a whirlpool that generates the water to make it go fast to help create electricity. So basically, you just keep adding. Like I said, you can put tweets, you can put PDFs, Bill Nye. Here's a book that I found. It's really cute. It's a Google Doc book, and it talks about geothermal, which is when they dig under the ground and they put pipes, and the heat that comes from the core of the earth heats the pipes, and that's how the house is heated. And then in the summertime, it draws the heat from the house into the ground and keeps the house cooler that way. I don't think it's like our air conditioning, but.
I have a quick
And
question. Sorry, can
sure,
I?
no, go ahead.
So, are you posting all of these, or are students also able to post something as well?
Good question. So if they're 13 and older, they can make their own Wakelet account. But since they're not 13, they cannot. So what you do is you can create a shell with titles and have them fill in and put them, like pair kids up, or even put 3 kids on one. And I'm going to show you the 2 different ways you can share it, where no account information will be necessary for the kids to access it.
Awesome.
So they can embed, so we have a project that we are, a PBL that we're doing that is coming up, where they have a particular resource and then they're going to be doing research. So could they put their findings, so we've made the shell, they can then put their findings under that heading or whatever.
And what's nice, since you created it and you're asking them to collaborate, they can only add. They can't accidentally delete what some other student has added or what you've added. They can't change the layout. They can't change titles. All they can do is add.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know though, because I haven't collaborated with someone else, but I'm almost positive that down here it'll have their name. But if they're not signing in, they might just put a first name. I'm not exactly sure what that will look like, so that you'll know, you know, who to attribute that resource to. So that's something, sorry, I don't have that side of it to tell you.
But if you're doing it as a group, you think many could, so we have a few students in it, they could each contribute to the shell, if you call it? Yes.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. So here I went ahead and did a Flipgrid short. And you can see you can put like little frames and stickers, or you could change the filter just like anything else in Flipgrid. And then because it's Flipgrid right here, I don't know if you can see that, but this right here means that it will show in text down here what I'm saying. And they should be able to change the language to the language that's most most commonly spoken. So we do have some brand new students from China that we've been working with, that our bilingual aides have been working with. They could change it to simplified Chinese.
Oh.
And then this is something from my Google Drive that I added. It's basically a slide deck that's a shell that has the information of what I want them to add. So let's go into, move this out of the way. Okay. So done. So this is what it looks like if they're just coming on. See the immersive reader right here so that they can, the directions can be read to them.
Discover different types of energy.
I don't know if I shared my sound, but it was reading it. Over here, are you familiar with immersive reader?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so they can change the language over here. They can slow it down over here. What's nice is it will also do it for the website. Oh, what did I do? I did something wrong. Let's see. Now I don't see it. Figures. Okay, so right here, this is a feedback. They can give you clapping hands, thumbs up, a heart, a wow, or 100%. And then, oh, here it is. It's in beta. I'm sorry, that's right. The immersive reader for whatever you add is in beta. So they click on beta and they get the immersive reader here. So they can just click on it and it'll read everything to them. What's funny is it says wind and then some of it calls it wind. So like, oh, okay. So go ahead.
Oh, I was joking. Tomato, tomato.
Yeah. They can bookmark anything and it'll bookmark in their account. But again, that's for a 13-year-old. So let me go back to the presentation. So to make an account, you just go to wakelet.com and create an account. I would sign in with Google. That way you don't have to remember the password.
I remember you showed me this before, so I'm lucky I already created one.
Yay.
Pretty excited, yeah.
And then once you have an account, you can curate resources to share as a collection to share with your students or with your colleagues. And I'm going to show you the two different ways to share. Just so you know that students can log in with the code. You can give them a code. They don't have to have an account or login information. And they can provide you the feedback with the, the little emojis. Or if you give them the other way of sharing where they're a collaborator, they can add to the collection. And then this is just a reminder, they cannot accidentally delete what other students add or the content that you've added. And they also won't be able to see who added what, only you can see that. So these are the two different ways. When you've created your collection, the share arrow is how you share it so they can just interact with it. They're just viewing it and interacting with the content, giving the thumbs up, using immersive reader. But if you click on invite, so that should be kind of a cue for you that you're not just sharing it, you're inviting someone to collaborate. And when you do it that way, it actually gives them editing rights. So you've created it and you've got the shell. So maybe you have text in between areas where you want them to add something. Or maybe you add one thing and then text under it under here. Another thing that people have done, read this first, read this second, things like that. Watch this video third, just to give the kids an idea of, what you want them to do, how you want them to proceed through all of the information. So it will give you two different links. The share arrow where they're just interacting with it. This is this small little link. But when you invite others for collaboration, it's an actual invite code. So let me show you what that looks like. So if I go here and I share it, I can share it on Google Classroom. I can get a QR code. I can tweet it out. But here basically is the code that I'm going to share if I'm putting it on class tag or reminder. Well, I gosh, remind is right here. But if I'm inviting others, I go up here to invite, and this is the code you give them. So when they go on to Wakelet, they just put that code in, or I would just give them this code right here. That was the link I showed you. And this has the code and everything in it. That's what gives them the ability to edit. So let's go home and I'll add, so this is what it looks like. So we create a new collection. This is where you can add a cover image and you can choose from their library. They have all kinds of really cool ones. So I'll just pick this one. And then you can also add a background image right here, the full cover image. Wait, no, I think that's over here. I apologize. The settings wheel is where you can add a background image to make it really pop. So let's see. I'll pick something really random. The ocean and the mountains. And then you can enter a title right here. Sample, write your description. And then right here, what you might do is just add text. And the text might be bold. You can make it a heading. And then the kids would add any resources. I mean, I don't know what you're working on, Kelly, but they would add resources under there. That's basically all you would do. You would change it so that it would be unlisted. So other people, you know, the public isn't getting into the student's work. It remains private. And then once you click done, so we'll pretend I created a full blown, right? Then you would invite the kids and you would copy the link and put it in Google Classroom. And you might have a different one. Maybe you're gonna have 3 groups for your students because you have a lot of kids. You have 35 kids, right? Or 34. So you might have maybe four of these, and they could be exactly the same thing.
Mhm.
It's just a different link for each one. And you might, where it says sample, you might say group 1, group 2, group 3.
Mhm. Mhm. Sorry, I had to mute myself.
Nice.
Yes, that makes sense.
See, I told you this was, it's
Mhm.
really simple. It's like Pinterest
Mhm.
for resources. So lastly, I want to show you what I leverage this for a lot is I go to the search up here and I will type in like something like STEM or STEAM PBL, and I will find other people's collections and you can copy their collection or just keep the collection because they're probably adding to it. So when you click on their collection, there are 44 items in this. You know, just go through, you might find one thing and bookmark that one, and then it shows up in your bookmarks. So let me show you. This is what mine looks like. So I have 3 collections, actually 2. These are all the bookmarks I have. My personal one, I have a ton more than this. Oh, it looks like I accidentally saved this. Oh, these 2 twice. So things that I found on the internet when I was creating the other one, they'll show up here. So here's the little book. So they'll show up in here also. You can group collections. And this is where the kids would join a collection. So, but that's if they already have an account. This is when they've already left our school. Remember, I used to do K-12. So I have to keep remembering I'm in K-6 right now. We can't always.
I'm seeing the Pinterest now. This makes sense.
Yeah.
So you just went to search for that. That was where you
Yeah. Up
found the
here.
collection.
Search,
Okay.
yep. And I just
That's a
typed
great
in,
tool. Okay.
oops, PBLE. And you can see why it's not for anyone under 13. There was that spooky thing that I just accidentally clicked on. But, you know, and you could even put PBL elementary, maybe it would
Mhm.
narrow it down even more.
That's nice. I love that.
Yeah, look, elementary STEM PBL ideas. There are 3 items in here. And when I find someone who I think has good stuff, I follow them. Just that's kind of a
Mhm.
Pinterest thing or not. Yeah, you can do that on Pinterest, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's Wakelet.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Opened my eyes to a whole new world.
I know. Well, when we were doing blended learning, one of the things that kept coming up over and over was research. And
Mhm.
that's huge on the SBAC, which we are going to be doing. There's no opting out. Well, parents could opt out, but we really don't want them to because it's going to kill Rondo for the very first year of the California dashboard.
Mhm.
So, how do you do research in a hybrid environment? You have to know how to collect and curate information for kids so they can access it, and then you can talk about the validity and the worthiness and how to scrutinize
Mhm.
different pieces of information. So you could even put some information in a collection that wasn't so good and hope that they discover that. If they don't, just lead them down like which are most likely to be the most useful in what we're doing.
Mhm.
So, and the next, what the Tech Tuesday, I'm going to give 2 more tools for curating research and really going after that, because district wide, when I was looking at our scores, that seems to be one of the weakest links is research and providing evidence in writing.
Mhm.
Whoop, my kids are learning that right now. Checks
Go to
out
6th grade.
Yeah. I love it so much because right now my students love Padlet, but they can't get any of the research or information. So here I am posting things all over Google Classroom in little folders when Wakelet just nicely presents it
Mhm.
in orderly fashion. So I'm super excited.